Okay. So Crossroads Urban Center has reached out to all the people running to be the Democratic candidate in Utah's new House District 1. Today we are meeting with Ben McAdams, who is now the fifth of the candidates running to be the Democratic nominee, and we're really grateful he took time to stop and meet with us.
Yeah, Bill, thanks for letting me sit down with you, and let me thank Crossroads for all the great work you do in our community. I've seen it, when I was in the state senate, when I was mayor, and in Congress, and you guys are really on the front lines doing the hard work.
Well, thank you. Is there anything? We sent you some questions, but we've given everybody else a chance to say why they're running. So, what would you like to say about that?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have never been more worried about the direction of our country than I am right now. As you know, I served in the state senate. I was mayor of Salt Lake County. I was also a member of the United States Congress. I've done the hard work of building coalitions, of bringing people together to tackle some really tough issues. But I've never been more worried about the direction of our country than I am right now. I grew up in a household where, our family, we knew financial insecurity as kids. I remember times that our power was shut off, that, always at the end of the month we would have rice and butter for dinner. A few times our home was in foreclosure, but thankfully our family never knew homelessness. But I know what it's like to have financial insecurity. My mother had a chronic illness. My sister was a type 1 diabetic, so we also knew what it was like to live in fear of losing access to our health care. And so many families in America right now, we always had a lifeline, and we always managed to pull through, but so many families in our country right now are really struggling and really hurting. And I'm worried because it's only getting harder. We see healthcare getting more expensive, subsidies being cut, food care and SNAP benefits being cut. These are vital lifeline resources that families have relied on to just put food on the table. So I'm really worried, and I just decided that if there's something I can do, I've never been good about sitting on the sidelines. If there's something that I can do about the challenges that our country's facing, I'm going to jump in and try to tackle it.
Okay. So the first question we sent all the candidates was this one. The minimum wage has been stuck at $7.25 per hour since 2009. Do you support legislation to raise the minimum wage?
I absolutely do. This is an issue that, and you'll hear some of the people in this race criticize me for this, because I had my first job when I was 11 years old. And that was to help to pay family expenses, buy school clothes as a kid. I know how hard people work because I've had to work hard. I've worked minimum wage jobs, put myself through high school, to put myself through college. I know how much people struggle. You'll hear people criticize because when I was in Congress, I actually voted against a proposal to raise the minimum wage. And I'd love to take a chance to just explain that. So we had first of all, we controlled the House.
Right.
So we had a pretty good shot that bill was going to pass the House, but we also knew that it was dead on arrival in the Senate and that Donald Trump would veto it in the House. So I worked together with a group of Republicans and Democrats because I said it's not good enough to just pass a bill that we know is going to die. We have to build a durable coalition that can actually raise the minimum wage. So what we found as I was talking to people, there were people around the country, there was actually, I think, a consensus of Republicans and Democrats who supported raising the minimum wage, but what's a livable wage in New York City is going to be different than what a livable wage is in Utah. So we had this concept that we were working on where we said, when you look at affordable housing, we look at, it's called area median income. So that recognizes that what's an affordable home in New York is different than what's an affordable home in Utah. The prices are just going to be different. So we were trying to come up with a concept that was similar for wages, because you just heard so many people saying, I want to raise the minimum wage, but people in New York City would say, you come up with a proposal and they'd say, that's not enough. And you'd have somebody in Salt Lake City or Alabama say, that's too much, it's going to force small businesses to struggle or something. And so we're working on a concept to have an area median income, an area median wage that we could get consensus to, because here we are, it's been 10 years and we still haven't raised the minimum wage. It's just not enough, and we've got to raise it. But to get stuff like that done, you've got to think three-dimensionally about how you're going to build a coalition, how you're going to address the concerns of different people, and build a coalition that can actually get it across the finish line.
Great, thank you for meeting with us and answering our questions. The second question we sent is this one. The Big Beautiful Bill, championed by President Trump, made many negative changes to Medicaid and the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. Would you support legislation to repeal these negative changes to vital health care and nutrition programs?
100%. These are nobody's living a life of luxury on these benefits. This is a crucial lifeline. It just helps people. I don't even know if you get by with SNAP these days. Like, it's just a crucial lifeline between hunger, homelessness, and just getting by from one day to the next. Absolutely, we need to restore this. Donald Trump just said yesterday that federal government can't do this because we have wars to fight. We've seen, what he cut from SNAP and Medicare is funding a war in Iran that nobody asked for. We absolutely need to roll that back. It is the responsibility of the U.S. government to make sure people have the basic necessities of life.
Thank you. The third question we sent all the candidates was this: during the past year, HUD has proposed major controversial changes to programs that help fund homeless services in the United States. Congress has taken action to block some of HUD's proposals. If elected, would you work to protect funding for homeless services from proposals that would make it harder to reduce homelessness?
Again, 110%. When I was mayor of Salt Lake County, I did a lot of work to try to support our friends who are unhoused, and look, we're not doing enough. To think that we've lost, and how much ground we've lost in the last year, and how many people are really suffering because of that just breaks my heart. Federal government needs to do more, not less. When I was in Congress, I was on the House Financial Services Committee that works with HUD. So developed a strong working relationship, both as mayor and as a member of Congress. These are issues that I feel passionately about. We've got to do more. We've got to not only restore, but we've got to do more.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your answers and for taking the time to talk with us.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be with you.
Yeah.